Me.
Okay, I think only, hey, Bill. I think only and there's Rebecca.
Hi, folks, before we get involved, did you see my note to y'all about,
Yes, but that's a Thursday discussion.
okay, no, I just wondered if it had gotten buried in all that other stuff, so,
Thank you.
Yeah, I saw it too.
okay,
Rebecca,
yeah,
you and I are going to have to be vigorously watching hands, okay? Because
Sure.
Joanne's not here. It will be a lot of people perhaps.
sure.
Judd, do you have some slides? I was reading some information. So
Yeah.
you're going to take care of some slide work, I guess, right?
That's correct.
They'll show it.
You didn't see that? Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, it came on around 12 o'clock and I did not, I was busy up to about 12. So
Gotcha.
Okay.
yeah, let me know these things.
I did. I sent you a text.
You know, we have to figure out your tax situation because I send it to the executive team and you're not on it. And then I send it individually. So we have to see if we can add you, but that's another topic, not for today.
Don't worry, I'm not worth adding.
You certainly are. Don't be silly. Welcome, everyone who is joining us. Good to see you.
Judd, are you recording now or?
Yes.
Yes.
It's on.
So I have to watch my words, I guess, right?
That's right. No ugly words.
No ugly words. I can't be nasty or
Well,
feisty.
Well, reasonably ugly and somewhat mean, but
Excuse me,
Not
this
obvious.
is a positive meeting,
I'll use my manners.
please.
My wife used to teach manners.
So
So
only
she taught
positive
me
cuss
well.
word. Yeah, I think a please before each cuss word does wonders.
Okay, and I appreciate the information on the new people, which we will recognize.
Yes, and Pat and I were talking that, we really only need first name, last name, where are you from, and what kind of neuropathy you have. And then if somebody begins to talk about it, we say, we got a whole discussion on that.
No, and also I would like to know, I agree with that. And also, how did they find out about us?
Okay.
I've got that in my program.
Right. Great.
I've got 5 people so far. We'll go alphabetically, starting with Peggy Barton.
Yep. Same.
Okay.
Same. Yeah. Good.
Good.
Do you have Karen Ryan on your list?
I have Karen. No, I do not.
She may not be here. She was a first timer. I just talked to her, or Pat's been talking to her, I guess. We both have. And
Okay, I have Peggy Barton. I'm going alphabetically. Laura Cannell,
Yes,
Danny Fredericks, Katina Gillespie, and Carla Moffett.
that's correct. And then Karen Ryan and Catherine Neal are possibilities. And then,
Okay, well,
of course, there are people that we don't know yet are new.
okay, but I was going to start with those 5, and
Good.
then go
Okay.
from there.
And
Good.
ask them in the initial part to say their name, their where they're located, and their
Got you.
type of neuropathy.
Got
We
you.
got it.
5 minutes till.
We're on a roll.
I got 154. I'm sorry, I'm a minute behind.
On my clock.
Well, we're going by my clock.
That's something worth fighting about.
Positivity, folks.
Oh, right. Okay, we'll go by your clock.
Because I'm the moderator.
Right. But not very moderate. Wait, no, only positive.
Hey, everything's plus.
All right. I'm happy to see some new faces and some people who are returning.
She
Always
didn't
makes-
say old faces.
No, we're not saying old faces. I'm saying returning faces.
Senior faces.
In your faces.
So, you know, I was reading in, it
I
was,
need to put my,
I think it was, that's okay, Carla. I think it was maybe Mayo Clinic, I'm not sure, about an 8-year-old who's been diagnosed with peripheral neuropathy. And I don't think I've ever heard of someone that young.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
That
And
sounds,
the mother was reaching out for any help that people had to suggest. So anyway. And of course, we have had some people in their 30s, their 20s and 30s joining our group. So it isn't an old people's disease. It can be very much identified younger.
Well, I'll suggest that the young man starts out with a pediatric neurologist.
Mhm, for sure. But she didn't say whom she had spoken with at that point or who had diagnosed him. But since it was Mayo Clinic, I'm pretty sure maybe he was already being seen at the clinic and she was reaching out to a more informal group like this who might have had experience and might want to share. That is one good thing about the Mayo Clinic Connect. If you haven't heard of it, it's more of a forum where you can text back and forth, email back and forth your questions. So that is a definite resource to know about. It's not in the moment, so you might not get an immediate response, but you will certainly be answered because they have moderators who make sure that every submission is at least answered. There's Dennis Handler, whose name I don't recognize.
yeah, he's been around. He's a Facebook member too,
Okay,
from
good.
California.
And Betty Ann is connecting to audio.
Good. That reassures me that that's working.
Yes, we're going to be going over, we've talked a lot in our executive team meetings of how to make the meetings run smoother. And we're going to add some features today that we're going to try for the first time. And Judd will be talking about that in a few minutes. But one of them will be how to raise your hand and how to lower it. So here we are. We still have like a minute, I think. People are
Yep.
welcome to say hello or
1 minute.
Two
make sure
minutes.
we have everybody in the, Mike, are you monitoring the waiting room? Okay, good.
Yes.
It's now that you're screen sharing, I can't see it or I don't see it.
I'll say hello. Hello, everybody.
And
Hello.
you know,
Hello, welcome.
one
Happy New
thing,
Year.
Thank you.
thing
The
I'm-
same to you.
one thing I'm wondering is if we could ask people to say their name when they comment, like say, this is Helene, I'll say hello. Instead of it just being a voice out of the screen.
I think that's a good idea.
It is 2 o'clock. Start the music.
I got one more minute.
Okay. Sorry, jumped the gun.
I've got 2 o'clock also.
Is that music from the Eagles?
No, but that's a whale of an idea.
Hotel California would be
Oh my
very good.
gosh. Then what you're positive. But you can
Gloria.
never leave.
Gloria has joined.
Okay, I am ready to begin. Okay. All right, folks, welcome. My name is Bill Porter. I'm the moderator for this group today. And I want to welcome you all to the January meeting. And we're going to focus on positive experiences. And what I'd like to do is read a sentence from one of our members, Joanne Jensen, who wrote, "All of us with PN know the frustrations of having a chronic disease with no cure and few effective treatments. But January is a time for new beginnings, so an appropriate theme for our January PN meeting is making some new beginnings to deal with PN." Judge, could you bring up the screen, the agenda,
Okay.
please?
Can you all see that?
Yeah.
I don't see the screen yet, Judge.
Are you still seeing faces? Are you seeing the,
It's January 23 monthly meeting,
the agenda? Okay,
the agenda.
sorry.
There we go.
Okay, as you all can see, we are gonna, well, I've started to welcome and review. Then we're going to a website and resources by Jed Vaughn, who's going to show some new techniques for us. Then I'm going to recognize new attendees, and so far I have gotten 5 new attendees, so we will chat about that when we get to it. Then Rebecca Hattab has some very interesting things on the matching campaign. And then we're going to start at 2:35 positivity discussions part 1. I'm going to monitor that, and I am going to lead it off with what I found to be very positive in my journey. Then at 2:55 to 3, we have a break. And then we come back and continue with part 2, which I will also monitor. And I'm hoping that people in the group will contribute what they have found to be a very positive thing for them. Then Mike Foxworth will be during the time taking notes on what's going on, and we're going to review the main topics from our positive discussion. And then towards the end of the program, Pat and I will wrap up. And then also we have had an overtime period, which we have not added recently, but just to let you all know, and Judd will talk about that. Again, I hope for those who have just joined, everybody had a happy new year. And I see some smiling faces, so it must be true. Luckily, my own is very quiet. I was in bed by 9:30, but I was woken up at midnight by fireworks. So that's how I spent my New Year's. Anyway, you will find this group to be very caring and supportive. Remember that we're all in this situation together. Also, we may have neuropathy, but neuropathy does not have us. Also, during the break time, we'll go to the commons area. Just kidding, thinking about my college. For some food, drink, or restroom break. Remember to stretch. Also, I would like to mention some things about Jed will continue this situation, but remember the chat feature, how to raise and lower your hand. Also, please mute yourself when moving around because of background noise. And don't forget to unmute when called on. And anyway, what I'll do right now is turn it over to Judd because he has some nice slides to show and to talk about the website and resources. So take it away, Judd.
You. We wanted to talk about a few little things. We're getting to a size now where it's kind of hard to make sure everybody gets to say a little something if they want to. And so I'd like to introduce a couple of things that'll help us do that, I think. One is when we talk, during the discussion, you can electronically raise your hand. You can, of course, raise your hand, and we may see you, but the little reaction button will give us, will put a hand up on your screen, and our guys can see who has a word to say, and then they can call on that person. And the way that happens is down at the bottom of your screen, if you're on a desktop, you'll see a button down there. That's the reactions button. And if you're on a phone and iPad, I'll tell you a little bit more about that. But right now, let me just show you how that works. When you hit the reaction button, this little menu comes up. And this first one is raise your hand. Simply click, touch the thing, and it will put a physical hand up on the left-hand side of your screen. Everyone can see it, and therefore we'll know who to call on. There's other reactions, but we don't need to necessarily go over them. You're free to use them if you want. But the main thing is learning how to raise our hand electronically. Then if you're in a certain mode on a desktop, you may find that you don't see a reactions button, but you may see a little thing on the right-hand side of the screen, 3 dots in a row called an ellipse. And this ellipse will give you access to that reaction screen. So click on that, the little 3 dots, and then you'll get the screen and you can use it. How to use the chat. Down in the bottom of the menu, there's another button called chat. When you click on that, it puts a menu up there beside your screen and shows you all the things people are talking about in text within Zoom. You can either direct that at someone, such as the chairman, or you can generally, we want to be communicating with everybody, so it will let you do that. And these little chat messages, you can fill one up and then another one. But people can have a conversation going on the side. This is really helpful when we have a speaker because people can ask questions even while the lecture's going on. And the lecturer can actually respond or at least know that somebody is reacting to something they said. So that's the little chat feature. Now, if you're on an iPhone or if you're on your phone or you're on a tablet, the menus are not going to appear at the bottom of your screen like this. If you see this on the left-hand side where Rebecca is, down at the bottom, that's the way I see this. And I don't see a reactions button, but I see the ellipses that we talked about. Just click on those, then you will see this. And just either go to chat, click, or raise your hand, or the other reactions that you can leave there. Click cancel to shut her down, and then you'll be back to the screen again. We're going to be a little more stricter on timing so that everybody gets a chance to speak if they want to. I've got a timer set here for 3 minutes. So when I start the timer, when the person starts talking, they can talk away, and then something like this will happen. And that lets you know that your 3 minutes is up. Now, this is in the formal nature of our program, which Bill talked about, is just after what we're going to do now when we start the discussion. Later on, it's a free-for-all toward the end, and we're a little looser on that. But anyway, whenever you hear this, it means just, pay attention because something's happening, something's changing, basically, within the meeting. We are opening up, our meetings officially are over at 4 o'clock. We do this with respect for our members who have other plans and so forth. but we leave the channel open for 30 minutes or an hour even when people just want to hang around, and they might be talking about a few personal things, getting something straight. We can use it for training. It's a social time. We've used this for a long time, and it seems not everybody wants to do that, but some people, especially those who maybe were members of the Annandale group when we met in person, they know each other and on a personal level, and it gives them a chance to have a semi-private little conversation. It's not moderated, it's just an open channel for you to talk. And that's it. Did I get everything? Oh yeah, the website. Do I have time to do the website?
You betcha. You've got about 8 minutes.
Okay. The website, one second, let me get that screen back up. And not this.
Hooray!
Yeah, well, not ready to talk about that just yet. Let's see. I thought I had that queued up. We have a website. The website is building into quite a repository of very important documents, videos, podcasts, and so forth. Here it is. And each meeting, we like to go over this just to show you a little bit of what we're getting used to. It's getting around 200 pages now, and it's getting maybe a little hard to navigate. I don't know. You might think so. So I thought each meeting we might want to talk about some
Feature.
that would be good for you to know about. So here's the home page. Right up here are the main menu items. This is where we are now in home. Resources gives you access to what we're calling our little flashcards and our database of providers. And it goes type of PN, causes of peripheral neuropathy, and then related medical conditions. And then we start with the database, research that's going on, medical providers, and but let me bop back up here to advice from our community. What we're doing there is trying to capture things that are said by members. This is not vetted. It's not medically 100%. It's people's opinions about what's worked. Now we try to keep it fairly vetted, but this is a time where people come to this group because they're looking for solutions. And so if you go here, advice from our community, we're going to try to build this up and keep it growing so that you could go there and find out about inflammatory foods or vitamins. What's the deal on vitamins? Or shoe brands, types that people are using, and other types of foot care. Things like mobility aids, driving hand controls, or just ski poles and other devices, pain management, mostly having to do with drugs, but it could be other ways of pain management as well. Exercise, things you could do at home, and then lifestyle changes. That's a broad category for just, things that we can work into our New Year's resolutions to try to quell the pain and offset some energy to a good place. Okay, events and meetings. I'd just like to point out the calendar. We operate a calendar which tells you about events that are coming. This is today's meeting. It'll go away in about an hour or two. There's a February meeting, and that's wrong. I just put that up there, and it should be February. It says January, so it's unsorted. Pittsburgh has a meeting coming up January 18. That's on a Wednesday night. No speaker, and it's Zoom only, but they'll have a good discussion. The Bethesda Chevy Chase support meeting will happen the day after that on Thursday night. Their guest speaker is Dr. Adam Isaac. This is sponsored by Suburban Hospital. There's a webinar coming up on the 25th of January, Physical Activity for Older People. This is sponsored by George Mason University's OLLI program. And I believe it's free. You can sign up there, and you know, it'll be good for us to know about that. Footnotes is our online newsletter. It basically is a blog. It is meant to tell you about things that are coming up very short term, or things that are happening in the news. We get a lot of our sources from things like Brain and Mind magazine.
Brain and Life.
Brain and Life. Yes, thank you. Or the Foundation for Peripheral Neuropathy, or any number of places where people are putting up information that we think you would like to know about. Here's the Footnotes 23 January edition. This mostly concerns New Year's resolutions and getting off to a good start for the year. For example, healthy New Year's resolutions. This article is from
The American
Geriatrics. So it is, you know, it's a tip sheet on exercise and just good habits that we need to know about, that sort of thing. This will be incremented every month. It's written basically by Pat, and Pat's our president, and but we other people may contribute, and it may have things that are not articles. It may be other kinds of events or news that we just need to know about. So then we go to members. I won't dwell on this, but this is basically, if you're a member, and you are, then just go here and find out more about some things you maybe need to know about. An FAQ is our page for frequently asked questions, and we're developing that. It's just short answers to questions you may want to know about. Then about our group, for example, you can find out more about our leadership, or about how we run the group, how it started, or how to contact us when we recognize people, and so forth. So that's basically that. I wanted to point out one thing that we're working on that I think is going to be not only pretty popular, but we need it. This is the homepage, and I'm going down the homepage until I get to the search engine. I'm going to type in the word newbie, and newbie is a word which means you haven't been here before. This is called the Newbie Guide, the Neuropathy Newbie Guide. It's a page on our website. If you're new to neuropathy, and a lot of people are, then this will, you just got a diagnosis, now what do you do? So this will give you a good bird's eye view of things you can do immediately to try to help yourself and to help others. This should, it has several things on there, including balance and falling, pain, why is there no cure? That's a good question. Who else is working on this? And how to volunteer, get help by helping others, and then what's new in research. You know, we'll be building these topics, but this isn't the end all be all. It's just a nice, quick place if you've been diagnosed recently to go get some starter information. I just wanted to point that out. Okay, I believe that's it.
Brad,
Yes.
just let me add, please, that the footnotes each month are included in your invitation with the link to take you to these pages. And it's important because there's often a registration link for a webinar, and it will take you right to it. I've also posted just today in the chat the upcoming support group meetings in January. so that if you can't make the Saturday meetings, you might want to go to a Wednesday or a Thursday night. So we will ask you to look at the footnotes each month when you receive your invitation. Some people have told us that they can't find the link, they can't find their invitation. We're realizing that it is sent out by tech@dcpnsupport.org. I'll put that in the chat. If you search that in your emails, you should find the invitation. Sometimes it's treated as spam. Sometimes you don't see it in your inbox and you're looking for my name or Judd's name or PN's name. I'm going to put it in the chat for what you should search if you're having trouble finding the invitation with the Zoom link. Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, it's time to
Before we move
on.
on, excuse me, Bill, before we move on, it's Rebecca. I've been monitoring, the waiting room.
Yes.
And Judd, several people have gotten into it several times, so I don't know if they're getting bumped off or not. So
Yeah, that's probably what that means.
so I don't know if there's an issue with us or them.
It couldn't be us.
Because we're all positive.
And we're here.
We're vertical.
Okay, let's keep an eye on that.
We're
That could
above
be
ground.
trouble.
It's
Okay,
better
back-
to be seen than viewed.
Back
All
to
right.
the agenda.
All right, going on with the agenda, I've got new attendees. And I just want to talk about people who are new to the group. And I've got a list of 5 people who are new. And I want to make sure they're here, and I'm going to go in alphabetical order. And if they're not here, I'll move on. And if I don't mention your name, please, speak up at the end. But what I would like you to do is to say what your name is, of course, unless there's some privacy issues, and also talk about what type of PN do you have, and also how you found out about this group. Okay, any questions? Okay, and the first person I have is Peggy Barton. Is she here?
Yes, I'm
Peggy,
here. Hi.
please go ahead.
Okay, you know my name, Peggy Barton. I have small fiber neuropathy, although like the opposite of the saying, I do feel like it has me. I feel kind of out of control with it. And it was 12 years in the coming to even get the diagnosis. And I found out about this group because just from feeling so alone and scared, just in a dark tunnel, not knowing what was happening, because I can't even get a hold of my doctor most of the time. And it's getting worse. So one night I just thought, I can't take this anymore. I need somebody to talk with that understands what's happening to me, that is happening to them too. I can't go through this alone anymore. So I went on the internet and I said, looking for support groups for peripheral neuropathy. And somebody recommended this group. So I think that in a way that was a pause. I had to do something proactive. So I think in a way I'm kind of blending this with the positivity thing. I think I finally took a positive step because I've tried everything else. And I just need some support and information, hopefully. And I think that's all you wanted to hear from me right now. I'm
All
not sure.
right, Peggy, I appreciate that. And I will tell you that you are in the right group, and we are very caring and we are very supportive. And during our positivity discussions, I hope that you will find some relief.
Thank you.
Anyway, thank you for being with us. And the next person I have, I'm going to call on is Laura Cannell. Is she here?
I don't see her.
Okay, Laura is probably in the Commons area. All right, number 3, I have Denny Fredericks. Is he here?
No.
Denny must be with Laura. All right.
Well, they were here. They got Denny was here. But
Yes.
he's not anymore.
Well, what'd you do to him, Judd?
I don't know. That's what I'm thinking about Rebecca's statement about people getting on and
All
off.
right, well,
Uh,
if Denny comes back, if you see him, please let me know and we can try and get him on. Number
Judd, you may
four,
have,
I've got.
Judd, you may have seen Dennis Handler. I did not see Dennis Fredericks.
Oh,
All right, well,
maybe. Yeah.
continuing, number three, I've got, excuse me, number four, I've got Katina Gillespie. Is she here?
No,
Okay. And the last person I have on my list is Carla Moffett. Is she here?
yes.
Carla, go ahead.
Unmute. There she,
Unmute, Carla.
she did.
I did. I'm fairly new to PN. So I just did an online search and it eventually, I said, peripheral neuropathy support group. And I found you all. And so I'm grateful to be here. I don't have much to say, except this is pretty new to me. So I don't know what else to say.
Well, Carla, that's okay. And again, as I said to Peggy, I think you found the right place. In fact, I know you found the right place. We're very supportive and caring. And I hope that when we're in discussion, you'll get some good ideas. But we appreciate you being here.
Yes, Carla, could you tell us where you live?
I live in Clifton, Virginia in Fairfax County.
Okay. And also Peggy, would you tell us where you live?
I live in Hopkinton, Massachusetts, the big start of the marathon, the Boston Marathon. That's our claim to fame. But anyway, that's where I am, Massachusetts.
All right,
Thank
well,
you.
again, welcome Peggy and welcome Carla.
Carla.
Okay, is there anybody else new to the group that I have not, it's not on my list, who would like to speak up? Going once. Going twice. Over. All right, anyway, if you all notice somebody new, please let me know when they come on. But anyway, we are now going to move on to the matching campaign with Rebecca.
Well, our campaign got matched, so I'm going to Tahiti tomorrow. So
And I'm going with you, right? 3:30.
Judd, can you
Dallas,
pull
right?
up the, Judd, can you pull up the slide, please?
Yeah.
3:30
So anyway,
from
some of you are new here, and you might not be aware, but we had a very generous donor offer to match any donations that were made for this month, up to $1,000. And we did make that $1,000. So our wonderful donor wrote a check for $1,000. We also had 9 or 10 more other people who posted a grand total of $2,395. So currently our end of year donation totaled $3,395. So thank you all very, very much.
Right.
Super.
I am
All right.
I am so pleased and grateful for the members' response. We will be talking more about what we're going to do with that money, including some hopefully additional equipment that will help us polish our recordings and add to the value of our meetings. Thank
Yeah.
you.
And, you know, it came in a flurry, like the last week or 10 days was when I was getting most of these things in. So it's like people decided, oh yeah, I better do this if I'm going to do it. So anyway, thank you all very, very much.
All right, thank you. And we appreciate what the donor, and maybe the donor will help out next year. We shall see. Anyway, okay, now we're we're pretty much on time. And as I said, we're going to talk about positivity discussions. So I want people to be thinking about, we know we've all, as I said before in the very beginning, we know about the journeys. We know about the problems. We know about what we've been through or what we're going through. And it's been frustrating, but a lot of us have, all of us, some will begin that journey and some have been through that journey. But I am going to start it off being the moderator because I'm supposed to be in charge, but some people wonder about that. But anyway, I want to, and I surely hope that Judd does not beat me out. I'll be very embarrassed. So I got 3 minutes. Anyway, I want to let you know, first off, we all know about the journey. But I want to tell you that I was always very athletic. And I've had peripheral neuropathy since 2005. And it's been a journey, but the first thing I learned to do is to get a positive attitude. And somebody about 10 years ago said to me, a bad attitude is like a flat tire. You cannot go anywhere until you change it. And all of a sudden, a light bulb went off in my head. And I said, that makes sense. And so I got a positive attitude. And also I found out during my journey, I found a team of people who helped me. And when I'm talking about a team, it could be medical or non-medical, but it's I started out idiopathic, which means they didn't know what it was. And then it became close to diabetic, and then it became diabetic. So my team includes a neurologist and a endocrinologist. But some people have an acupuncturist, some people have a chiropractor, but all I'm saying is find a team that is positive to you and caring for what you do. If you can't find somebody, go to somebody else. All right. The next thing, what I mean by that is being your own advocate. You have to go out and find the right people who want to help you. Also, I used to be quite a runner. I was a track star at one time. But instead of saying, I can't, say I can modify. For an example, if you can't, if you used to run a mile and you can't do a mile, start out with 25 yards. If you can't do 25 yards of walking, do 10 yards. If you can't walk at all, just try moving around. What I'm saying is don't say I can't, say I can modify. Also, I used to teach during my career, and I developed a volunteer system I used to teach high school, but I developed a volunteer teaching at a elementary school where I can sit down. I told them I couldn't stand up for long periods of time, but I told them that I could sit down and I could help the students. I wanted to help the students who were bummed.
Your time is up.
Okay, help the students. And the last thing I want to say is find a social club or a group of getting together with people for breakfast or lunch. Good people that support you. Stay away from negative people. And the last thing is motion is lotion, rest is rust. So find an exercise that you enjoy. Just don't, I hate running, don't run. Find something you enjoy. And that's it. I quit.
Excellent.
Elaine thinks it was good. She's giving you applause.
Anyway, okay, is there anybody else who would like to join the conversation and get buzzed off by Judd?
Yeah, I'm relentless.
We were
Well,
hoping,
awesome.
We were hoping with the invitation that you would get some time to think about not just the negative aspects of peripheral neuropathy, but that you might be willing to share today, like Bill did, how he adapted after he got the diagnosis. And I don't want to take away from the member group, so I'm going to not talk anymore, but I hope that someone here is willing to share something that they have either adapted, learned, tried a new hobby. Is there anyone who is willing to share with us?
I'll do it.
Janet's got her hand up.
Hi, I was just gonna say that I've had peripheral neuropathy for 5 years. And I also have diabetes, but I do consider exercise an elixir. It's wonderful to, and I have access to a lot of, exercise facilities. I have an exercise room where I live. There's an indoor pool, which, by the way, after I I walk, not swim at this point, and I got that from a nurse who gave a presentation a couple of years ago with this group. But everything feels better, and I make a point of, manipulating my hands and my feet. But also, what I wanted to just add is that physical therapist pointed me towards adaptive, like, utensils for eating, and that has really helped a lot. And I have those, I don't know what they call them, but they're grip pads that help you open and close things. So I've really adjusted. But of course, last week I broke a glass dish because things slip all the time, but I'm pretty much replacing all my glass plates with plastic anyway. But so that's all I was going to add, is that I do believe in exercise. I always feel better. In my mind, I envision that the nerves are being rekindled. I don't think they are, but using adaptive utensils really helps a lot in terms of not embarrassing myself when I'm eating.
Okay,
I'm done.
thank you very much. Pat, you have your hand up?
Janet, I hope this is a perfect opportunity to talk a little bit very quickly about what Judd was saying. Our advice from our community is so important to us, and it's a way beyond these monthly meetings to share. So it would be really helpful if Janet would go to our website and post the name of the adaptive utensils or the grips, so other people could say, I don't want to go on Amazon and just look for grips. What has worked for Janet that she's actually used? And that drop-down menu, there's an exercise one, there's assistive technology. There are places that you can add those comments. And if we find that people talk willingly in the monthly meetings, but they aren't willing to go and post it. And I don't know how to encourage people to post and share this so it goes beyond just this 15-minute or whatever. So thank you, Janet, if you will agree to do that.
I will make a point of doing that. I want to go to the website anyway and see other sections, so that'll be fine.
Thank you.
Okay,
Okay,
three
I
people
see
have
three
their
hands
hand
up.
up. Ann Stillwell, Lou,
Okay,
and
Ann, and
Dennis
then
Handler.
Lou, then Dennis.
Yeah,
Ann?
I just wanted to say that there is a Facebook group called Peripheral Neuropathy Success Stories. And it's pretty robust, and there's lots of information given out there, just like what you guys are doing here, and some ideas on what you might do. Does anybody have knowledge about that Facebook group? I really like it.
Yeah, I see it too.
So you might join that group if you're on Facebook.
That's CJ's group, right?
No, that's Michael Wright's
Oh.
success stories. I'll put that in the chat.
We're better than Michael Wright.
Right.
I'm
Who
on
is
Michael
he?
Wright's group too. He's very
is
good.
he?
He's very good. Okay, Dennis, how about you?
As you know, I live in Los Angeles, and I'm living in an assisted living facility. So it's 11:45 here in LA, and we get our meals served at 12. So I'm leaving that because I'm not interested. but I do kind of want to get my lunch in. So I apologize for leaving halfway through, and hope you all had a wonderful new year. And I really enjoy seeing you guys each month. Thank you.
Good to see you, Dennis.
Have a wonderful day, everyone.
Okay, Lou, I'm sorry I skipped over you.
Oh, he's muted.
Lou, you get on mute.
Yeah,
There we
yeah, I
go.
just want to say, I mean, I'm sort of like in Bill's position. That's this year, it's 20 years since I was first diagnosed with peripheral neuropathy. Hard to believe, but I believe it. And, you know, the thing is, I'm grateful that I'm still able to do, you know, I've lost a lot of the ability to do a lot of things. Traveling is hard. There's a lot of things that are, you know, more limited than they used to be, but I can still get around and do my basic things I like to do and for myself. And so I'm grateful for that. And I think, again, exercise is maybe the number one activity I could recommend for people, just to keep moving, keep your, you know, muscles conditioned, you know, do a little bit of weight work, a little bit of cardio. Doesn't have to be a lot, but try to mix it up. And you know, that's you'll be, I think you'll be glad about it for it. So that's it.
Thank you, Lou. Appreciate
Yeah,
it.
sure.
Sure. Is there anybody else who would like to speak?
I'll speak.
Mike,
Mike, go ahead.
I've had peripheral neuropathy for, let's see, now it's 25 years. I ignored it for most of the first, because it's not particularly painful. I ignored it for the most of the first 13 years, and then it started to, started noticing balance effects. And that's when I started whining and complaining. Of course, I whine and complain a lot anyway, but
Amen.
amen. But there have been a whole bunch of things that are kind of fun. I remember the first, I had something on my shoulder, and I had to have a arm in a sling, and it was hard to get around in the grocery store and get stuff done. And so I found out they got these little carts that you could sit in and drive around in the grocery store. Well, okay, you can look at that and say, well, my gosh, I'm in such bad shape that I have to use one of those carts. Or on the other hand, you get to a big empty aisle and you just steer to the right and you steer to the left, and suddenly you're back a teenager using a, what do you call those little go-kart things. And I said, oh my, I get something to enjoy out of this. And there's fun out there. It's out there. You can have fun if you try and if you take advantage of what's there. Another thing is roughly 20 years ago, we lived in a house with a basement, and it was always cold, and sometimes it would get wet, and the rugs would get wet, and we had replaced rugs. And so I finally started buying pads, like gym pads, and put them down there just to have a soft, warm surface. Well, I found out that these pads are very useful for people with peripheral neuropathy, because you can fall and you're much less likely to get injured if you fall on something that's kind of soft and deep. And it turns out they're pretty easy to keep clean. And my goodness, there are all kinds of advantages from having something like that. And I only go with what Bill said: exercise, do something you enjoy. Do something you enjoy. Exercise. I'm still out there kicking and getting around. I do fall. I've fallen in the house. I can't know the exact number, but 4, 5, 6 times. And these pads have helped every time. I wrote an essay, put it on the website I'll put the link in the chat. It gives a lot of detailed information. If you do want to buy pads, get some detailed information about advice about buying them and fitting them and things like that. I find also that being in a group of people who listen to me, because I talk an awful lot, is very helpful for me. These are the positive aspects. Another thing is that sometimes the handicap spot isn't available to park my car, and I can still park my car somewhere else, and I can still get out and walk. And to me, that's a good thing. I didn't have to use the handicap spot. I use the handicap spot if it's available, but I say to myself, hey, I still got it. I can still get by. There's somebody else out there who needs that handicap spot more than I do.
All right, Mike, we appreciate that. You're beyond time. You got buzzed like I did, but we appreciate what you said, made some good comments. I think, Helene, did you have your hand up?
I did.
Helene?
I just recently moved to New York from Maryland, and finding all new doctors has been an enormous challenge. I'm on Long Island, but what I've learned is that I need to speak up, be my own advocate, really be assertive about what my issues are, what I need, and not just, let them tell me what I need. I need to be in charge. And that has really helped me a lot, because finding all new doctors is really amazing. But be your own advocate, and it feels good. It's important. That's all I wanted to say.
Okay, thank you, Helene. I appreciate that. Pat?
Helene, Karen has just asked if anyone had a doctor reference in New York City. Have you found someone that you would share, or are you concentrating on Long Island? Or
Yes, I sent her the pain management specialist that I have in New York City at Weill Cornell, but I haven't actually seen her in person because it's a pain in the neck to get to New York City. But she is very good, and I would recommend her.
would you please post that to the whole group?
Sure.
Not just
Sure.
to there. Thank you. Ann Stillwell has her hand up, Bill.
Okay, Ann, please go ahead. I'm sorry, I was looking at the chat. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Ann.
Hi, I was wondering if anyone has had any success with alternative medicine, like acupuncture or chiropractic or massage or other forms rather than medical doctors. Any comments about that?
I'll just say that I tried it. It was very interesting. The woman was Eastern medicine, and she just passed vials of medicines across my body and decided where my inflammation was, and suggested that I had a sensitivity to zinc, I think it was. And so then she turned around and sold me medicine that she compounded herself, and it made no difference. And I just felt this was too strange. I gave it a shot, but I never went back.
I was going to say that I've tried both acupuncture and massage. And although the massage particularly is very comforting and soothing and relaxing, I don't think either one has helped my peripheral neuropathy.
All right, Janet, appreciate that, but let's try and talk about what right now the positive aspects. And Helene, I see. Well, Meredith, you've had your hand up for a while. Meredith, and then Helene.
Yes,
Meredith?
hi. Well, first of all, I'm really grateful for groups like this. I wanted to welcome Peggy and Carla. I'm so glad to have new people, and I really, appreciated talking about finding support and information. And I think Bill's right that there's a lot to be gained from being with other people that really understand, no matter where you are. I started having problems in 2000, I think, but it wasn't very bad for a number of years. So everyone has a really different story. I'm not sure I still fall into the sort of broad category where they don't know what it is, I guess. And I think someone mentioned, maybe it was Bill, about adapting. I think that's just critical, because for me over the years, it just keeps changing, and I have multiple things. I was curious when someone was talking about, trying massage and all these different things. I've had fibromyalgia since my 20s, so I probably did more of that searching and trying everything with the fibro years ago before really even knowing about or tuning into the peripheral, which came a good bit later. And what my experience with things like acupuncture, massage, chiropractic, whatever, I probably actually got hurt a little bit behind some of the chiropractic, but with all of those, at best, sometimes it would help while I did it, while I went. If it was acupuncture, I may have a good experience, but it didn't last. So anyway, that was kind of my experience. I just wanted to share quickly, I've done this before, probably in here, but other settings too. I'm in a small house in Old Town Alexandria. I don't have a bathtub. I'm not sure I could get out of one if I did now. My husband and I had redone our house in about 10 years ago. So I have a good shower that has a shower head and the hand shower and a very small corner seat that I can sit on. What I've been doing a lot, I bought these, this is called Speedo. It's a soft water walking shoe that is very, all of this is really soft. I have hammer toes and other things, but things like this are really easy to wear because it adapts to you. And then it has a very strong bottom. I bought these decades and decades ago when I first was swimming in a pool. And I used to love showers, and now I find it's like I almost dread it because I'm having more problems with balance and stuff. But this is a kind of thing, little things that to adapt with seem to really help. That's part of what keeps me positive and keeps me going. So I really like the idea of, that we just kind of have to adapt to these changes over time, but that there's other people to do it with. And I'm just real grateful for that. So thanks.
All right, Meredith, we appreciate that. And I've got on my schedule, I've got 2:54, and I see some hands up. But what I'd like to do I want to take a 5-minute break and then come back and pick up. And also I see that Ann, your hand up, and Mike's your hand up, but I also we will continue the part 2 discussions. And I would like people to think about during the break about what's been said has been great. And I just want to hear from more people. And I hope some of the new people have gotten some good ideas of what to look forward to, so to speak. But we're going to take a little 5-minute break. And please, I would like many people to contribute because all this helps. And a support group is very, very beneficial. So let's take a little 5-minute break, and I'll come back and pick up with the hands with Ann and Mike. Okay? Okay.
I'm hungry.
Um,
Want something to something?
I'm thinking. I knew about the scallop.
What'd you say?
I'm excited about the scallop.
You have scallops?
What?
You have scallops?
That's what I have to get stuff for.
Give me a list.
Yeah.
Give me include scallops.
We have stuff.
Instead, we have scallops. All right, I got 2 minutes to go. Well, 1 minute to go.
Bill, are you going to focus still on positivity, but allow a little time at the end for those who want to speak?
Yes, ma'am. I will do it.
But we're doing great.
I just want to point out that Helene has her hand up.
Okay, no, I see it.
Okay,
She was the first one I was gonna call on.
And Ann Stillwell.
Yeah, I see Ann and Mike. Yeah, I got you. Okay,
Peter, we can see you now. Good job.
okay, folks, we are back. We are still concentrating on being positive, and I see some hands up. And Helene, I'm gonna call on you first because you're wiggling your hand. And anyway, go ahead, Helene.
Okay, two quick things. This is, if you can see it, the kind of grip I think that we were talking about that helps open jars and bottles and soda bottles and whatever. They're great. Whoever invented them is my hero. So if you can get one of these, they're wonderful. The other thing I just wanted to comment on quickly was acupuncture. Years ago, I don't know, 15 years ago or so, when my insurance paid for acupuncture, I was going regularly, and during one session, my right foot exploded in peripheral neuropathy pain. I guess one of the nerves flared up, and I started to cry. It was so bad. And the the acupuncturist brought someone else in so that two people were helping me. And honest to God, I feel like I saw the pain fly out of my foot. It just was remarkable. And I know it doesn't last very long, but acupuncture, I believe, really, really helps if you get a good acupuncturist. And when I was going, the relief, even if it lasted for a day, is a wonderful feeling. So I just recommend acupuncture if you can afford it and find a good one.
As I've said before, everyone has to find a team, and whether they're a medical team or non-conventional team member or something, if it works for you, great. And that's what we're looking for. Anne, your hand is up.
I was wondering if, when you think about your neuropathy, the source of the neuropathy, when it happened, and do you ever think about that and discussing that problem with your doctors? And is that a way to look at treatment? In my case, it was multiple injuries when I would fall off a horse, or I froze my feet when I was skiing as a teenager, and the onset came 40 years ago when I was in my 30s. So anyway, does anybody do that? Do you look at the source of the injury and then go from there? And do the doctors talk to you about that?
I
I'll
can make
answer
a
that very
comment.
quickly, and then we'll move on and we'll come back to you. But the answer is yes. And the reason I say yes is the more information you can give your doctor, the better the diagnosis. That's a short answer, but we can
Yeah.
get back to you. But yes, the more information you can give somebody, because we're finding the doctors don't really know a lot about neuropathy, but the more information you give them, the better. Anyway.
Can I make a comment?
Not yet.
Well, responding to this,
Okay.
when mine started, my husband and I like to travel a lot, and when we travel, we sightsee and we walk. And we were on a vacation walking around in Normandy, and all of a sudden my feet started hurting one day. So I just assumed it was because I was walking too much. But it just has progressed over the years. So it's like you can't figure out what's causing it sometimes.
Okay. Thank you very much. I agree with you. Mike, hands up.
Oh, I just wanted to comment about things like acupuncture and all. And I just kind of endorse what Helene just said, which is that you got to go from now till tomorrow to the tomorrow to the tomorrow. Just the fact that acupuncture doesn't last a long time, it does get you from today to tomorrow. And that's important because the pain basically is the way in which your brain is adapting to what's going on, or maybe what did go on before, or maybe to other things that are going on in your life. And you need to get on with life. So yeah, maybe acupuncture doesn't last a really long time. My wife used to use it for migraines, and for the few days, her life was back to normal. And that was a blessing. That's a good thing. That's all I really wanted to say. Yeah, maybe these
All right,
things.
thank you, Mike. Great comments. Rich, you're up.
Yeah, thanks. Back to Helene and her comments on acupuncture. I think I know the answer. I'm going to ask it anyway. You mentioned that it did help mitigate the pain. What about numbness? Was there any lessening of, did you have an issue with numbness? And if so, was there any lessening of that?
At that time, I did not have an issue with numbness, and so I can't answer that, but the pain definitely.
Okay, thanks.
Okay.
Rich,
Yeah.
you were doing red light laser therapy for a bit. Has that helped you at all?
Jury is still out. This was LLL, low level laser light therapy. Yeah, maybe 4 Ls. I'm still doing it. You know, I guess at best, I think I'm steady state, no worsening at this point, which is good news because it's been a few months. But you know, some days I was off of it for a few weeks. I'm not real thrilled about the facility. You know, it's interesting when you go into a facility and they only ask you about how was your weekend and not how you doing, right? That tells you something. So yeah, I'm, you know, and Mike has shared his thoughts, Mike Foxworth, and I appreciate them too, because I don't know, I'm a little skeptical, so I'm not ready to endorse them by any stretch, but I haven't gotten worse, so that's good news.
All right, it's good you bring your own advocate, though. I mean, you're checking it out. All right, Peggy, you had your hand up. Peggy
Yes.
Barton.
Yes. I had a couple of things to respond to. Initially, I think, Bill, you said, we all know about the journey. Let's just talk about the positives. Ironically, I'm looking forward to hearing about, I only know about my journey, and I'm actually looking forward to hearing other people's journey. That's going to be a positive thing for me to look forward to. And also in last month, they said next month we're going to talk about it from a positive aspect. So try to think of any good that came from this condition. So that's the words I had in my mind. And for the last month, I've racked my brain, and all I could think of was, I can't think of a darn thing good that's come of this, other than it's made me more empathic to hearing about other, you know, now that I know, just more empathic to other people's crosses in life. And on the other hand, I'd like to have the empathy without this condition, but it definitely has made me more aware that other people have things too, and far worse than what I have. So it's kind of brought me back into, hello, you're in the human race too. In the human species. I'm not privileged that I can get by without anything happening. But finally, I want to say, as far as doing something positive, I think joining this group was probably a very proactive, probably the most positive thing I've done since I got this, you know, since this whole thing started. And as far as little tricks I do, and things I enjoy, I love reading my fiction novels, and I love eating popcorn, and I love being outside. So that's it.
Thank you, Peggy. Makes good sense to me. Judd, did you have your hand up, or were you scratching your ear?
I was probably scratching my ear, but I'll take a turn. Let me start my timer.
Yeah, time yourself.
I do. One of the things that, you know, Peggy talked about the positives. One of the things I've got since my PN has ruined my balance is to get one of these bikes. This is called a Tadpole recumbent tricycle. Have you all heard of this?
No.
No.
Well, it has one wheel in the back and two in the front. It's an incredible machine, and your legs go here into the front, and bam, you're off. It's an incredible machine. I don't, but a lot of people are driving these things like 50 and 100 miles, multi-day trips and so forth. I do live on the edge of a Fairfax County park, so I can get on the park real easily and make it down to the bike shop and the WNOD and so forth. That's been a real positive for me, because I'm not going to go to a gym. I'm not going to exercise really. This basically is my throw at movement. And it really is, you know, if I were on a hiking is no good, but this lets me stretch my body out. And I pedal without stress, and it doesn't have that little bitty seat like you get on a, you know, the regular bicycle. And so I'm really tickled about it, and surprised that more people with peripheral neuropathy don't seek this out because it's actually fun. It's a lot of fun. The worst part is getting in and out, mostly in, but that's okay.
No, I won't say I've seen that before. I have a neighbor that's got one of those, and it's really, but it's amazing. It's amazing to me, the motorized bikes and the things that are coming up for people who are having neuropathy or some muscle problem, or it's amazing what's going on. Anyway, Pat, your hand just went up.
I just would like to stop a second and welcome Elizabeth and Ellie, who have joined us, I think, since the break, and they don't have their video on, but welcome, and give them perhaps an opportunity a little later to speak.
Okay,
Rudy has his hand up. Rudy?
He's on
Rudy?
mute.
Rudy, go ahead.
Okay. My name is Rudy Pasternak, and I'm relatively new to this particular disease. I've had this about 2 years now, so I'm probably pretty naive, but I've read about, at least 5 or 6 books on neuropathy. And it's very frequently they're talking about a shortage of this vitamin B12. And also, I think once or twice I've come across this alpha-liptoc acid that supposedly be able to help with neuropathy. So I just been flooding my body with B12 and alpha-liptoc acid now for about the past year, and I don't think it's going. I don't think it's getting any worse. I think it's probably staying about the same. And I don't know if anybody else is having success with these particular vitamins and supplements or not, but my problem is basically I guess I'm very fortunate. I don't have any pain with this problem yet. But I have this numbness. My feet are just they're just almost totally numb, which makes it difficult to drive, as you can imagine. So, but I just want to know if these supplements can really do you that much good. If anybody else has had, or are there other supplements that I should be trying?
I can speak to that. I take a supplement called Meta NX. It's a doctor prescribed food supplement. And I've taken it for about 4 years. It really has arrested my neuropathy. I don't say cured, but because I can feel it, and it doesn't do much for numbness or balance, but it sure has stopped the stabbing pains I used to have in my feet.
What is that?
It's called Meta NX. Meta NX. It's
we'll put it in the chat for everyone.
Yeah, just be aware though that stuff, I tried it for a while and I felt fabulous for a few weeks, but it is a B6 supplement. And if you get too much B6 in your supplement, so just be careful.
You need a little B6. We could fight about this, Rebecca. But
yeah, no, you need a little, but you don't want to get too much.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, I'm aware of that for sure.
Well, that's why it's doctor prescribed. I mean, you don't want to, I think, the FDA doesn't monitor food supplements. So we have to be careful about that, I think, because, and I don't know if you all have noticed, but there's been about 150,000 new vendors of all kinds of neuropathic treatments, and a lot of them aren't controlled. But this is, for me, it's doctor prescribed. He told me, he said, look, let's try this. He says, it doesn't work for everybody, but if you've got diabetic neuropathy, this may help out. Let's try it. And I did. It took a little while to kick in, but I tell you, it was a godsend for me. And there's my time.
All right, back at Rudy, I will just chime in that I take R-lipoic acid and vitamin B1 and 12, and I find out that neuropathy is just a progressive disease, and all you can do is slow down the process. And if the vitamins work for you, that's great. And like Judge said, he takes the Metnex and it works for him, and that's great. but I will tell you what works for one will not work for another. And, but taking vitamins is good, but also if you eat a good diet, you will probably get those vitamins. So it's just a matter of it's something between you and your doctor. And that's my 2 cents. Mike, you got your hand up. It's the last time.
The vitamin B12, there are things or conditions that can cause your body to not absorb vitamin B12 from food or can make you lose it. You really need to get a blood test to see what your levels are. There are certain kinds of conditions that can cause this. If you're concerned about it, get your doctor to get a blood test and see what your levels are. It's not very uncommon for older people to have these conditions arise where they get low on vitamin B12, in which case, yes, you do need it.
That's a very good comment to get your levels checked, because sometimes people take vitamins and it's too high. So as Mike said, you should get a blood test and see if you're deficient. You may not need this because, as doctors have told me, if you eat, again, a good healthy diet of vegetables, fruit, fish, and so on, you will get this without supplements. But if it works, it works. Okay, we got a handout from Susan.
On the B12, we've talked a lot about if you take supplements, you're not sure how much of it you're absorbing. I've got a B12 that's chewable, just because I think I might be more likely to get more of it in my bloodstream. And that's good. But I just wanted to say on the positive stuff that this group has been so positive for me. It's part of it is knowing people who are addressing things and coping and being role models. I mean, when I first came in, I was just so amazed at things people are doing and feeling good about and sharing and learning so much from people. I'm going to go out and get some Speedos. My sister has peripheral neuropathy. I'm going to get some Speedos for her too, So every time we get together, I'm either inspired by someone or just feel closer to someone or find out something I didn't know. And it's made all the difference to me.
Susan, I appreciate your comments and I agree. Pat, you mentioned 2 people.
Elizabeth and Ellie might want to introduce themselves.
Okay, Elizabeth.
But she's not.
Yeah, that's me. If I do screen sharing, will you be able to see me?
Yes.
No, Elizabeth, if you go to the bottom taskbar, there's a video camera. If you click on that, it says start video, stop video. Do you see that?
I have the Zoom.
Okay, at the bottom of your Zoom.
Okay, I have FaceTime. I don't see, what am I looking for down here? I'm in the taskbar.
Good. And to the left of participants, there is a video camera.
Okay, your taskbar. Okay.
Yes. And if you see that camera, it says.
Okay, start video?
Yes. Click
Okay,
on that.
I unmuted, so I'll start the video. Let's see what happens. Well,
There you
look at
are.
that.
Good.
Okay, well, I have it covered, so I'll uncover it.
All right. Great.
There you are.
Yay.
All right, Elizabeth, go ahead, please.
Okay,
If you'd
briefly.
introduce yourself and. since
Sure,
you're new.
I'm Elizabeth Eamon. I'm in the Alexandria area, but it's more off of Franconia Road. So I'm Fairfax County, Alexandria, not Old Town Alexandria. But I've been diagnosed with peripheral neuropathy for 9 going on 10 years now, and it has never increased since the diagnosis. I have changed neurologist twice now. I'm on my third neurologist, and I'm starting to get a little confident in what his approach is, because he thinks it was based on a medication I was taking 9 years ago. That's when the neuropathy started. The neuropathy stopped progressing when I stopped taking that medication. That is what we're trying to test now. Now I have the complication of also having sciatica and neuropathy. So they've got to split my symptoms into, well, this might be neuropathy in your feet, and this might be sciatica in your legs. And so I'm encouraged to just keep changing doctors until you start being confident of what they're saying. So we're doing blood tests, and the blood test is that B12. Yes, they're very interested in that, but I take B12 supplements. B6, none of the neurologists I've talked to like B6, but again, your blood tests should tell whether or not you have to lose the B6, which I have lost the B6, and gain more B12, which I'm doing. I don't see any difference, but I'm not progressing. So I don't know why I'm not progressing. And that's good news, I guess. But I would like, if I'm not progressing, then why can't I get rid of it? It's 9-10 years now of not progressing. But anyway, they're working on potential reversible, what is it? Potential reversible because of the medication connection, if that is provable. Now, we still don't know, for 9 years, it's been peripheral neuropathy. We don't know why. So I finally found a neurologist who says, I think I know why. And if we can diagnose it as that medication, which you no longer take, then we'll work on that theory. So that's my story.
Well, Elizabeth, I think you're on the right journey, and we hope it will work out for you. And it's very important. And we said from the very beginning to find a doctor that you feel comfortable with, and what he or she does for you works.
Yeah, well, I have a new primary care physician.
Yeah.
And the only reason for that is my other one, who I adored, left the practice. So I have to find a new primary care, but I'm going with the primary care with this new doctor in their hospital system. So I've kind of changed.
All right, at least you're sort of being your own advocate, which has been brought up before, that you need to do that, be your own advocate and find the right person.
Right, just
anyway, Pat, who else did you mention? I'm sorry.
Ellie.
Ellie.
You need to unmute, Ellie.
Oh, Ellie, you gotta unmute.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I'm arriving late. I had a volunteer activity this afternoon. Regarding the positives, nature has helped me a great deal. I walk, I get my 10,000 steps in every day, and and that has really been a huge beneficial activity for me. And then I'm looking at a printout from May 17th that was a response from Chuck Barnhart of an email I sent to him after listening to one of these programs on a Saturday. And then I wrote to him about the vitamins that he was taking. So I have taken that regimen myself. And I have found a lot of relief with my neuropathy. And so I thank Chuck Barnhart. I don't know if he's on today, but he was his vitamin suggestions proved to be very helpful, and I continue with him. I still am on a low dosage of gabapentin. And, you know, but so far so good. I'm pretty much pain-free. And I just want to continue that regimen as long as I can. So that's a huge positive result. And I thank this program, the participants in the support group for the suggestions. And I will just continue to do what I'm doing and hope that I will be able to cope with the neuropathy for the foreseeable future.
Thank you, Ellie. If I know people are going to ask about the regimen, is it possible for you to either email it to me or even put it in the chat, what you take?
Yeah, I can. I'll do that right now while
That would be
others are
helpful.
talking.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I was going to say, if you would prefer, you could send it to me and then I could send it out to the group, but
Okay.
whichever way.
All right. I'll do that.
Thank you, Ellie. Appreciate it. Walking in nature is always a great idea. I need to do that myself. I'm tired of walking around the block. I need to walk in nature.
I'm sorry.
Anyway, anyone else with a comment? Have I missed anybody?
Betty Ann, Ed, Karen? Anyone like to offer a comment?
I just wanted to mention briefly, and partly in light of some things that both Helene and Mike said, you know, I think a lot of things like the massage and all can be very helpful for a lot of reasons. I really just meant in my situation, I was kind of responding to a new person, but that it wasn't a cure for me. But I think it can be very helpful to go places and have some focus and relax and have therapeutic, you know, experiences that make you feel better, make you feel more qualitative, help you relax, maybe help you sleep better, whatever it is. So I did do a lot of that and I did get benefit that way. I was just trying to say that, you know, when I stopped, if I stopped like for money or whatever reasons, then I just seemed to go back to wherever I was. But I agree with people. It can be very helpful. Thanks.
Okay, Ed, you raise your hand up. Need to unmute, Ed.
Yeah, how you doing? Yeah, the only thing I'm going to say positive-wise about this is I've had neuropathy now for about 7-8 years. And what's come out of this is, for me, my wife and I, we still own our own company. We have our own business. And I've had to cut back on a lot of hours. And in the process of doing so, we found out that we took time for ourselves and we also spent more time with our grandchildren. Because I can't be as active as I used to. But yet on the other side of the coin, what we decided to do was, okay, if I can't do this, can't do that, what can we do? And we do see our grandchildren every Sunday now. So instead of me spending time at the office, which I still do on a 20, 25-hour week basis, I'm still spending more time with the family. And for me, that has been one of the better positives I can say out of this.
Good.
That's terrific.
No, I agree with that. Nothing like grandchildren.
Could I make a comment about cost of acupuncture?
Sure.
Are you hearing me? Okay. I've had acupuncture, and if I go to an acupuncturist, it's out of my pocket. My insurance company has told me if the acupuncture is done by an MD, they will cover it. So you can get acupuncture covered by insurance if that is the criteria of your insurance company. So check it out.
That is very good information, and you are right on that one because I have found that to be true, even though I don't use one anymore, but that was the fact 4 or 5 years ago. I had to find an MD.
Yeah.
Have it covered.
If he or she is a medical doctor,
I agree.
acupuncture is covered.
Thank you very much. Rich, you had your hand up?
Yes, thanks. So, the two primary symptoms of PN are pain and numbness. And I'm just curious, get people's comment on this. My symptom, I would describe mostly as numbness. Not this, when I think of pain, I think of sharp shooting pain, the kind of pain like if you, accidentally smash your finger with a hammer. All right, that's sharp pain. That's not the kind of pain I feel. While my primary symptom I would describe as numbness if I were telling my doctor, I also feel a significant amount of discomfort, but it's not the sharp kind of a shooting pain type of thing. So, it's kind of from like sitting, if you were to sit in a chair for, say 3 hours, it's more of an ache that I feel. So when people describe pain versus numbness, I'm just curious how you might contrast the two.
Mine is like being stabbed by flaming screwdrivers.
I'll take the numbness.
Right.
Others?
My pain is, I tell people it's like sticking my foot in a burning beehive.
Oh.
That's what I have all over my body.
And they understand that. But
Hey, Rich, this is
Elaine-
Ed. Rich, I'm on the same page with you. I have total numbness. But I'll tell you what, I did have some pain about 5-6 years ago, and it felt like someone was taking pliers and pinching my toes, you might say. But I have 100% numbness right now, okay? And obviously, it's hard to figure out why and all that stuff. But to separate the two is almost impossible because they are actually totally different in my personal opinion. And one's as bad as the other.
Well,
When you talk
I
about
found out through
numbness-
my career that the pain will stop and the numbness will progress. You go from pain to numbness over time.
Now, when you folks talk about numbness, I mean, to me, that means you can't feel anything.
Right.
That's
Well,
right.
you can eventually you can feel things, but some people cannot feel their foot on the ground. Like there's a story that I don't know is true or not, but it's some guy was walking around barefooted and he kept hearing a tapping on the floor and he couldn't figure out what that was. And he finally looked at the bottom of his foot and found a tack
Yeah.
in his foot.
So I went
That's what I call numbness.
So I've been to, I think many have already been up to Johns Hopkins, and I've been to their, some of their top neurologists up there, and they did, the various nerve conduction tests and the electro, tests. And so they were testing the condition of my nerves, and it was, primarily the sensory and the motor nerves, right? Well, the sensory, they were telling me that your sensory, they did different tests on me and they said, you're not feeling certain things on your skin. So they could touch my skin. It's like, touching me with a feather or something like that. But they had other devices that created vibration. Do you feel this? And those kind of things in certain locations on my foot, I wasn't feeling, but at the very bottom of my foot, say the arch, that was a more sensitive area. The different nerves are serving that area. And that stuff I was feeling. They also told me that my motor nerves at that time were working pretty well. Might have only been a couple of % degradation in those nerves. So, so that's the numbness type of thing where you could be touched by something and maybe not necessarily feel it sensory on the surface of your skin. But then when you get to a point where, you're not able, you want your foot to move. I haven't gotten there yet, fortunately yet, but it's been 5 years now. I think that's kind of a more serious condition, a more serious nerve, the motor nerve.
Ed, you had your hand up? Oh, okay, Peggy.
Yeah,
Hand up.
I'm
Go
glad
ahead.
I'm glad that Rich was talking about the differentiation because it's kind of an intriguing conundrum to even describe the difference between numbness and pain. On the one hand, my feet feel like they're going to explode when I step on them. And on the other hand, I would say they feel like they're made of wood, but to describe that further, it feels like they're in a vise compressing them. And would you call that pain or would you call it numbness? And then up my calf, it's like static electricity if you touch it. So it's just, I don't know if you'd call it numbness or bizarre feelings, but it's all mixed in. It's not, I don't have any pokers sticking in me on fire, but it's all these other weird things.
Well, I will tell you a good solution to finding out about your numbness is if you still drive and you can't feel the pedals, and that's why some people go to hand controls. I mean, but if you can feel the pedals, you're still in pretty good shape. Elaine.
On that topic, I recently got my brand new car with hand controls. And I always like to say, if anybody feels uncertain about where the pedals are when they're driving, don't wait, go to hand controls. They are, after you get used to them, they're very easy and feel so much better than wondering if I'm going to miss the brake pedal. So I recommend, that's been a positive thing, is being able to drive again with confidence.
Well, I think that's going to be a topic for us down the road, because a lot of people I know have gone to hand controls and they're saying, what do I do? Because you have to go through, you have to jump through some hoops to do it. And some people just don't want to jump because they don't understand it. So I think having a discussion of hand controls, and we would like you to speak more on that, would be later down the road, if that's okay. Because every group I'm in, there's somebody using hand controls. Yes, Pat, your hand's up.
Roland has just joined us. Perhaps we can say hello. Roland?
Roland. Hello.
Hello, hi, how are you? I haven't been on for quite a few months.
And we've missed you.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you.
Do you want to put your video on, Roland?
I'm not sure how to do that, but let me see. Okay.
If you look at the bottom, oh, there you go.
There you go.
Okay.
You're there.
Yeah, I'm up here in Malvern, PA, outside of Philadelphia. And I've had peripheral neuropathy since 2000, so it's been 22 years. But I'm very fortunate that it has not gotten real bad in those 22 years. It's tolerable.
Well, you're very fortunate.
I sure am. I sure
What
am.
do you do to keep your attitude very positive? I mean, we are trying to talk about positivity. Do you have something to add?
I basically keep going. I don't change my plans because of my neuropathy. I've been using a cane for a couple of years for my balance, but I'm sleeping all right. I'm doing my gabapentin. That's the only medication I take for it. What's that noise?
Not sure.
Someone's breaking in your house.
We just put in a new Ring doorbell, so I hope nobody's coming in my door.
Well, welcome back. We're glad you rejoined the group, Roland, and that you're not seeing major progression. That's a very definite positive.
That's a very good sign.
Yeah, thank you. I'm very happy with it. It's just been, I think it was in 2000 that after lots of different tests and stuff, they ruled out that I didn't have Lou Gehrig's disease and I did not have MS, and they ruled out all these different things, and they said, however, you do have peripheral neuropathy. So
I'm just curious, do you have certain good health habits or do you exercise or, I mean, do not,
I'm not doing anything that I should be doing, probably. I drink beer and I walk a fair amount and I still drive. I don't have any problems with driving.
okay. You are a lucky man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Keep up the good work.
Thank you. It's nice to be able to see you guys.
Nice to be seen.
Well, go ahead with what you were talking about. Positivity. That's good.
Okay, is there anyone else in the group who would like to speak?
Yes, yeah.
Rudy, yes, sir.
And we have this place in Newport News called the National Neuropathy Treatment Center, and they specialize in something called electric cell signaling. Has anyone had any experience with this organization?
Can you repeat the name again, Rudy, please? National Neuropathy?
The National Neuropathy Center, and they have several places in Virginia, and they do something called electrical cell signaling, and it's supposed to be a revolutionary new treatment that's approved by Medicare and other insurance companies. And I was just wondering if anybody has tried this and has any experience with them.
I have not, but have you done any sort of checking them out? I mean, done any homework on them? I do not know.
I'm sorry.
I do not know myself.
He asked if anyone had any experience. Same question you had.
We have a local chiropractor who's she's using laser now for peripheral neuropathy. I haven't I forget what the name of it is, but it's the doctor that came up with it is in Fort Lauderdale somewhere.
Red light laser therapy.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what it's called. Yeah.
Anybody tried that?
I've tried it. I'm still trying it. I don't know. Sometimes I have good days and sometimes I have bad days and I can't figure out what I'm doing to. Anyway.
Rebecca, you have an at-home kit, right?
Yeah, I also bought one of those little at-home things that I tell my husband I'm clicking my feet. And I also just ordered a massager thingy. I haven't received it yet, so we'll see. I'm trying everything except drugs.
Rebecca, I think all of us are trying different things, so we look forward to hearing, just like Rich, how you doing in 2 or 3 months. Pat, your hand is up.
Yes, I wanted to respond to Elizabeth's earlier comment about having both sciatica and PN. I also have both problems, and I have been doing aquatic therapy. That is not water aerobics. It's actual aquatic therapy where a therapist is beside you, either in the water or on the poolside, giving you directions. And I have found it really wonderful. It has been relaxing. I have worked hard on balance. It's helped the sciatica as well. The problem with it is there's few people, at least in the Inova hospital system, that do it. And throughout Fairfax County, there are certain pools like the one at Wakefield where you can do and it is totally covered by Medicare. So if you have any access to a physical therapist, ask if they do aqua therapy or aquatic therapy. And I can't recommend it enough. I thought I would hate it because I don't like to swim. Doesn't involve swimming at all. You're doing exercises on a noodle for balance. You're learning to walk correctly, using your heel to toe, just different things. So I would definitely recommend looking into that. There aren't enough therapists, so you have to wait a long time between appointments sometimes. So if you do find one and you like them, schedule 4 to 6 weeks in advance. Don't come back the next week and say, okay, can I get another appointment? Do a block of appointments so that you're on their schedule. And it's really, really helped me. Now they alternate land and water. They feel that that is helpful, and I don't know which is working, but I am really, really not suffering the sciatic pain that I had initially. And I do think it's also helping the PN, especially the balance issue.
Thank you
Okay,
so much for
that's-
that. I do physical therapy. I've been prescribed physical therapy, so I'm starting that soon for the sciatica. I do attend Wakefield for certain classes. So the next class I'm going to, which would be next Thursday, I'm definite. Their pool is so big, it's so huge, it's beautiful.
Yes. Well, you only use the 3-foot section because you're not swimming and you don't have to be worried about losing your balance and falling. I never get my hair wet even, Elizabeth. And go to the physical therapy office, you know, the desk there. Ask them where the PT office is, which is right next to their desk, and go in and introduce yourself. Get on their schedule.
I
Okay,
definitely going to do it. Thank you.
Let me break in. I've left something out of my notes, and Mike Foxworth was going to take some notes and give the basic points that came up during this discussion. So Mike,
Bill,
I'm sorry.
Betty Ann has her hand up.
One last, Betty Ann.
I just wondered if anyone had tried a spinal cord stimulator.
Helene,
Mike, I'm going to go to you.
Helene
Yes.
is responding to Betty's request.
I have tried a spinal cord stimulator several years ago and it didn't work, but the pain management specialist in New York City that I've been Zooming with says that the technology has changed dramatically. And she recommends that I try it again. She thinks that it will be a big difference than the one I had several years ago, and she hopes it will work. So I'm considering.
Okay, thank you for that information. Mike, I want to go with you to just sort of wrap up the optimism that we have talked about. Mike? No.
Go, he says. Okay. These are my best efforts. Mea culpa. We've got 3 support group meetings coming up in the next few days. Calgary group meets on the 18th, and the Pittsburgh group meets on the 18th. And the Bethesda Chevy Chase group is meeting on the 19th, just to remind you of that.
That is in the chat at the very beginning. If anyone is looking for the dates and times of the other support groups that are on Zoom, go ahead.
We've got three members that I can see spoke up. Peggy's had small fiber and spent 12 years trying to get a diagnosis. That seems to be the typical case with small fiber. Carla, found us up online. That's good. I'm glad you could find us, and is new to PN. Elizabeth had been going on for 10 years and is trying to sort it out from sciatica. And the doctor says maybe it's reversible because it was caused by medicine. We will all keep our fingers and toes crossed for that. That would be wonderful. We had a matching campaign and we raised a lot more money than we've ever had before. Positivity. Bill, he's a tire, it's like a flat tire, attitude, it's like a flat tire, can't go anywhere on a flat tire until you change it. You got to change your attitude. In other words, try to be positive. Keep searching for a doc. The one you have isn't seem to be responding, then do something different. got to find things you can do, even if the things you can't do, keep trying. Socializing, motion is lotion, keep moving. And do something you enjoy for exercise. Janet loves the indoor pool and apparently is the go-to source for various utensils to help you figure out how to do things when your fingers don't work the way they used to. Anne likes PN success stories. Michael Wright, there are a lot of people who like that group. Dennis, he's left us now, but he's in an assisted living site. He's been to quite a few of our meetings, and he likes coming here, even if he did have to bail after a little while. So apparently this group, for some people, for some reason, is helpful. We'll try to keep that up. Lou, he finds himself limited, but he still takes a lot of joy in being able doing things for himself. And he thinks exercise is an amazing benefit for him. Elaine says, be my own advocate, speak up. It feels good to be able to speak for myself and advocate for what I need. She is, excuse me.
Mike was doing really well there. I don't know.
Mike, you on a roll.
Barky
Yeah.
dog. Yes, very barky dog. Oh, she's trying to get into a pain management specialist, but's having some difficulty getting it scheduled. Apparently because they don't have one that's very close to her, and she really doesn't want to go downtown New York. I can sort of sympathize with that. And what do we think of alternative medicines and treatments? That set off a long discussion. It seems like some people like massage, acupuncture is, some people say it's not very helpful, and other people say, well, it's helpful as long as it lasts, which isn't forever. Meredith, she shows up as Meredith on the screen, but some of us call her Mer. She loves her soft Speedo water shoes with a firm grip. She doesn't. She likes them. That makes it just comfortable to get around the house. And she also has adapted her house with a new shower that makes it a lot easier to stay wet and clean, I guess. Anne, she thinks she and her doctor, she's been talking to her doctor about the possibility that her source of PN were some injuries that happened a long time ago. And she wondered if she talked to her doctor about that. And Bill says, yeah, sure, take a look at it. It's possible. I have my own opinions, but then I have lots of opinions. Laser Light, Rich tried Laser Light. He's not going to give us a firm endorsement, but he says he's no worse off. Of course, I didn't check his checkbook yet. I'll ask him to send a copy to me. Peggy, she says it's good for empathy. It made her hear about other people's journeys, and that's just kind of changed her way she feels about the whole thing. Hello, we're all human. This whole experience of being with others has been very positive. And she says she likes reading and being outdoor. Judd really likes his fancy tricycle. I'm sorry, it's not a call, a tricycle, excuse me. And as usual, pushes mechanics, even though he and I argue. But as Rebecca says, you can get too much B6, so get a test. Rudy asked about vitamin B12. Again, get blood tested. Yes, you can systematically get low on vitamin B12. It does happen, especially as we get older. And so, yeah, get tested. You might very well be low on B12. Bill takes that alpha lipoic acid and thinks it's a good thing. But reminds us, as I also put in an essay that I posted on the site, for most people, a good diet will supply most of the vitamins you need. Susan always likes coming to these meetings, always learns something that helps, and we some of us who've been seeing Susan for a long time really appreciate seeing Susan. Oh, well, personal. Anyway, Ellie was inspired by Chuck Barnhart. Wow. To use the set of vitamins that he described. And Ellie walks 10,000 steps a day. We got to get to find Ellie and find out how in the world she finds time to walk 10,000 steps a day. That mystifies me. I must be spending my life the wrong way. Meredith says it helps to get away and enjoy life. Yeah, I should probably try that. Ed, after 8 years, yeah, he's got PN and he's found, well, maybe I should cut back my hours in this company I run. Cut it back and, well, what would you do? Oh, well, I guess you could play with your grandchildren. What a thought. Elizabeth couldn't get her insurance to cover acupuncture, to which my response is, get a different insurance company. This group sounds like a bunch of losers. Rich, what's worse, pain or numbness? He's got numbness. He's not so concerned about pain. And well, let's summarize by saying that started off a long conversation, but somebody did point out that the sensory nerves are the ones that when they don't work right, that's the ones called numbness, whereas the motor nerves, they're the ones that make your muscles move. Rich, be thankful you can still move your muscles. Keep exercising. Peggy said, hey, I don't know what the hell is going on. I got stuff going on all over the place. And to which all us people who think we know something say, oh gosh, maybe I should change the subject. Rollins had PN for 23 years. He says it's gotten to the point where it's tolerable. Just keep using a cane and keep driving. Rudy asked about electrical signaling, and earlier we had from Rich that he's not too sure about this laser therapy. I guess the answer is, well, it probably doesn't hurt. Rebecca's trying the red light therapy, and she's not too sure either. Betty Ann wants to know whether or not there's a new form of spinal cord stimulator that's better than the one that and Helene said, well, I tried it, it didn't work, but maybe there's a new one. And at that point, the phone rang and I stopped taking notes, and I think I better shut up.
All right, well, you were on a roll, Mike, and I appreciate that. Yeah. Anyway, okay, we are going to wrap up, Pat. I'm going to let you just wrap it up, and then we can go into what I call overtime, which Judd talked about. So, Pat, I'm just going to be quiet and let you wrap it up.
Okay, I have like 30 seconds, and I just want to say thank you to everyone who came today, who participated willingly and shared so much information. We appreciate it. I did put, as I said, the support group meetings, the remainder of January at the beginning of the chat. If you don't know this, you should be able to save the chat by clicking on chat, and you see the 3 dots, the ellipse. You can then click on that and save. If not, Judd always saves it for us. And if you have questions about something that you heard or someone said, you can always write to leader@dcpnsupport.org. And that's me, and we will answer your query. So click on the ellipse, and the first menu item is save chat. You can save it, you name it, the date or whatever that will help you find it again on your computer. So there is that. Is there anything else? No, I think it's been a great meeting. We are going to we're looking for an occupational therapist who will talk to us in February about maybe changes you need to be thinking about in your house to be safer. And we're now going to go and explain very quickly that PNSN overtime is what Judd told us at the beginning. The official meeting ends at 4 o'clock, but you are welcome to stay on, and you don't do anything but just don't click leave meeting. And anybody who would like to continue talking, discussing, questioning, sharing, or just socializing, you're welcome to stay on. Thank you, Bill, for moderating. Thank you all for participating. And Judd and Mike and Rebecca for keeping us on task.
Goodbye all. Great to see y'all.
Hey, Judd, let me know if you're interested. I know a guy, he could put like 100 horsepower motor on that bike of yours. Let me know.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, a couple more wheels. Yeah. Yeah, I'd love to do that.
And Rich,
Kind of defeats the purpose. You wouldn't get the exercise, but could be a lot of fun.
It'll be all the time in the hospital that would bother me. So.
And Rich Davis, just seeing your face reminds me that we want to have a follow-up panel on medical marijuana, cannabis use, whatever. There's been a lot of interest in it. So we'll talk to you more about that as the new year continues. Thank you.
Sounds good.
I just want to say thank you to our leaders. This was a great meeting. It's so nice you do such a great job.
Well, thank you, Susan. That's lovely. In fact, when I thought Bill was going to ask me to say my positivities, my positivity is that I have an amazing executive team, a volunteer group who meets once a week officially and probably 10 times a week unofficially, just to get these meetings organized and in place and speakers found and bios written and invitations out and money collected. It's amazing what goes on behind the scenes. If anyone is willing to volunteer, I sort of pulled Rich in there again. If you're willing and you have a little bit of time, we always have projects in hand.
Well, you leaders have done a terrific job. And in fact, I vote that we double the salaries of all of you.
Thank you.
Yeah, here.
Oh, shoot.
The salaries are negative. Let's table that suggestion.
I appreciate.
I think our spouses would like it if we didn't quite spend so much time together, but that's all right.
And Mike, I appreciate your sense of humor.
All right. The official meeting is over. Welcome to stay, as we've said. And are we recording still into the next part, Judd?
Yeah, we voted to leave it on, so.
Okay, so we
But we
will,
won't put this part on the web.
just for point of fact,
Yeah.
you will still be being recorded. So if you have privacy concerns or issues, perhaps. we can-
If you killed any college students in Utah, you can keep it yourself.
Oh,
Amen.
Well, let's not go there. This is positive, remember? And, okay, thank you all.
We have somebody named Betty Ann. I want, did Betty speak up? I don't.
She has, yes, she left. She was the one who asked about the spinal cord stimulator.
Oh, that's right.
And I wanted to say that if Ellie does not mail me the vitamin regimen, I will talk to Chuck Barnhart directly and get it from him. So one way or the other, we will share it with you all, because I think there was a lot of interest in that when she brought it up.
Well, aren't we practicing medicine without a license?
Yeah.
Oh, we're just sharing.
Sharing. Well, that's what drug dealers do.
Oh, dear Lord.
Well, I
We
mean,
have children, we do that, don't we?
that worries me a little bit, because Chuck may have gone to 5 doctors and got the cocktail that works for him, and then we're going to share it and take it.
Mm.
No, we're just gonna share what he's taking and we can select what we want.
Oh, me. Well, that's
We're Well, we're not gonna say take it, we're gonna say this is what he takes and he's gone to 5 doctors and it's just probably just works for him. Try if you want to.
And I think you can put a disclaimer on that. I mean, as we've done before, because I remember, because that medical cannabis, there's a lot of things that work for certain people, but we always say you've got to consult your doctor. So this is just, what one person has tried. And
That's right. We always put that
Endorsement.
caveat on, and then we put it on the website as well. Hey,
Bingo.
Peter Coro, we haven't heard from you today. How are you? He may not hear me. Peter,
Unmute.
He's saying hi.
he's just saying hi. Okay.
Hi, Peter.
Hello, everyone.
Happy New Year.
Yeah, Happy New Year. That's
You want-
background music. That's my grandkids, so I'll probably go back on mute. But one
Okay.
person said about visiting his grandchildren once a week. I have them here for about 3 years, and it is rejuvenating. Luckily, my mother, their mother, my wife helps them quite a bit. I just watch and enjoy it.
Great. Well, there you go. Another pleasure that you might not have experienced.
Yes, definitely.
Okay.
There's 2 and 3. So I'm 80 years old. So it took me to be 80 to have grandchildren, 2 and
Oh,
3
wow.
years old. Stimulating, correct?
It's amazing, wonderful.
Okay,
Yeah.
folks, I'm gonna leave now. Thank you.
Thank you, Rebecca. And we'll talk about changing the name on the bank account.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks for your help, Rebecca.
Who helped you get the EIN, Pat?
Me and Peggy.
Oh, you were by, okay, all righty.
Peggy Vaughn.
And thanks
Okay.
for your help, Rebecca, this
Sure.
past week. I appreciated it. Yeah.
Have a good time in Acapulco.
Tahiti.
Tahiti.
Don't forget me, Rebecca. I'll be there.
They're in
Okay.
your lug.
Dallas
Bye-bye.
Airport, 3:30.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Take care, all.
Well,
Bye-bye.
we said that this after meeting is not moderated, so it's open to anyone who wants to ask anybody anything. So if you have something you'd like to share, please do.
I just wanted to say, some people call me Mayor, Mike.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, but I said, I'm afraid if I referred to you as Murr, people would say, oh, I was checking my own notes and I didn't see a Murr, so
Yeah, no, it's Mayor, like a horse.
oh, Mayor.
Yeah.
Oh, shucks.
I would like to ask Peggy Barton, being a new person, did you feel good about the session, Peggy?
Yes, yes, very good. It was very, very greatly organized, and everybody had a chance to speak up about interesting things. And it just was very encouraging to me to hear other people. And it's just, I've just felt like I've been for years in these dark woods, because it's just, until I got a diagnosis, it was like a monster crawling up my body, making things numb and weird feelings. And I finally got the diagnosis, but then what, And it's just, I have so much to learn, and just to hear other people. And it's just really going to help. And I have ideas now. I'm going to look up my insurance and see if they will pay for massage by a acupuncture by a doctor. I'm going to try anything, because I don't know what else to do. It's
Good.
getting worse, and I can't get my doctor a hold of him. And the low dose naltrexone that he had me on was causing me horrible nightmares. So I've kind of just taken myself off that. So I'm kind of on my own, and I'm just kind of in a great place, just listening to everybody and feeling I'm in the company of people that that are in the same boat as me.
Well, as a positive, Peggy, from some of what you're saying, it sounds like you really listened to yourself, like taking the drug and having the nightmares or whatever. And I think that's one of the best things you can do is honor your own perceptions and your own experiences, because it's so entirely unique, Everybody has a different story.
It's kind of funny. The first night I took it, my dream was about Armageddon. Literally, I could tell. That was so imprinted. I could tell you now what it was, but it's been a year and a half of nightmares. And anything that's going to keep you from sleeping is probably doing more harm than good. So I finally just stopped it until I can talk to somebody in charge. And anyway, I don't think that was going to cure me anyway. It was supposed to maybe halt things, but anyway, I'm just looking forward to hearing other people and
I'm concerned, Peggy, that you don't really have medical advice or an advisor, because like, if you had tried taking yourself off gabapentin or Lyrica or something, there are implications of, weaning yourself gradually and such. And if I'm not criticizing you by any means, I'm just saying it's scary to hear you not having anyone that you can go to say, I'm having these nightmares and I'd like to get off this medication. Is it okay if I just stop it? But you said your primary care physician isn't helpful.
Oh, she's not even, she's just like a token figure there in case I need a reference to somebody else. But the only one that has helped at all is my specialized neurologist in New Hampshire, who is so under demand that you have to wait a year to get input. I think I'm going to go onto Patient Gateway and write to him and say, this is what's happening. What do you think I should do? Do you have somebody else on your team I can see? Because I can't get to you until next year. So I think I'll do that.
That sounds like a good plan. Or even ask if there's a person they would recommend in the Boston area. So you didn't have to go to New Hampshire. I mean,
Well, actually, no, he works in New Hampshire and Mass General.
Oh, okay.
He kind of is in both places, but he's still under siege for his company.
Yeah.
So he's just such a rare breed that works in this field.
Have you all noticed that Susan Tipton has been cutting up top secret documents the whole meeting? And
I was almost ready to private message her and ask her what she was cutting the whole
thing. I want to get my personal ID off before I recycle the paper. So it's, it's a mindless task. I can focus on us and still get it done.
Well, I figured you weren't cutting out snowflakes like we used to do as kids. We would fold it and cut it in different designs and whatever. Hopefully we're not getting any real snow. Now, Peggy, you may have more experience. We haven't had a very nice winter so far, I think, because I don't like snow.
We finally got an inch yesterday and it's already melting. And to me, it's kind of really sad and scary that the climate's changing so that who knows what season it is anymore. And
well, that's also true.
Yeah, so that kind of
thinking more of the scariness of driving in the snow, which I hate. But you're right about climate change and the warming for sure.
Yeah, so the birds don't seem to know what's going on. They're all flying around. What do I do? Where am I? And
Peggy,
anyway.
Peggy, the problem that you've noticed the 12 years is pain. Is it localized in a particular place?
It started, I would say, even 15 years ago. I thought I was having pain in the right side of my foot. I thought my shoes were bad. I threw out the shoes. I still had the pain. And at that point, it was kind of localized on that side of my foot. And then it kind of progressed to my right foot feeling like it was going to explode when I stepped on it, but it wasn't consistent. So I'd say, okay, it just comes and goes, no problem. And I went to a neurologist and they knew nothing. Oh, we don't know, we just don't know. And finally, about 3 years ago, overnight, something just took off like wildfire. It was just constant, the pressure, and it just was spreading up my leg, and it felt like a dog had a hold of my ankle, just this pressure, like I was in a shackle. So then I really had to start looking for a decent neurologist. And I went to a local one and he did about 1,000 tests for diabetes, multiple myeloma, a spinal tap, every test you could think of. And he reached the end of his rope and said, well, you have neuropathy. We don't know. Take gabapentin. So on my own account, I was researching and I found this doctor, Dr. Ann Oaklander at Mass General. And then when I heard her description of small fiber neuropathy, I said, boom, that's what I have. And I called, she's not taking patients anymore. She has one associate, Dr. Farid. So I called for him, a year's wait. And in the meantime, Mass General did every other test they could think of with just invasive genetic testing, abdominal fat biopsy, some pretty gross things, and they came up empty. And finally, this Dr. Farid repeated, I'm sorry to talk so much, I'll be short. He repeated the skin punch in a more specific fashion and sent it. That's what I mean. He's so highly elevated on this subject. And he came out with, voila, diagnosis. Yes, you have small fiber neuropathy. And at that point, I got down on my knees to thank the Lord of diagnoses that I finally had a name for what was happening to me, because it was petrifying feeling this thing go up my body and not knowing what was happening. So anyway,
The thing is that small fiber is, it's, punch biopsies were very, very rarely ever used until just a few years ago. So the tool that your doctor used to diagnose you with small fiber is a new tool. It's, the tool itself has been existed for a long time, but it wasn't used for that purpose until very recently. So the fact that it took you 12 years was not necessarily an indictment of the medical profession. It simply that represents the fact that the thought process that says, well, maybe we could use this small piece of the small biopsy and look at it under a microscope, and maybe that tells us something about where the pain comes from. That connection has been made relatively recently, that is in the last few years, 3 years, 4 years. When I started joining this group in 2015, the phrase small fiber neuropathy was almost never heard. People had raised it up, but not in the form of something you could go to a regular neurologist to get tested for. So you're really looking into the situation where if this had happened 10 years earlier, you'd still be looking. Okay. Now, but the thing about it is, there's an essay out there I wrote. If you go to the website and look up pain, you'll find it. There's two of them out. The one's an older one that I think we probably should take down, and then there's a newer one, that's much shorter one that you might want to read. The thing is that pain itself is something your brain does to tell you to do something. I have sensations, and the longer the pain goes on, and you're talking 12 years now, the longer the pain goes on, your brain can actually change. The brain can add pieces to itself to become more sensitive to what's going on in your body. And since it went on for 12 years, your brain has had time to become even more sensitive to things that are happening in your body. So you're in a complicated situation, and you're in a situation where the medical profession doesn't really have any good tools. So your big thing is to say, well, what is this pain? What's going on in my head? Is there anything threatening my life here? And the answer is probably not. Probably there's nothing that's threatening your life except if you stop living your life, if you stop exercising, if you stop if you stop being socializing, if you stop living your life, that's the danger. Because all these things we were talking about, these positivity things we were talking about, that's what keeps you alive. That's what keeps life going on for you. We don't have any, we don't really know why you're getting signals from your body. We don't even know what signals are coming from your body. We can't measure it. But what this group is trying to say is do your best to keep functioning. That's what we're encouraging you to do.
Yeah, I appreciate that, and I can use all the encouragement because, you can try to kick yourself in the butt as much as you can, but it really helps to be around other people that are trying to help with that. But the one scary thing is that it's not static, it's not stable. It's spread from my foot to all the way up to my waist on my right, and it's spread into my left foot. Now that's all the way to my knee and my my hip there, so it's hard to ignore something that is changing and spreading and getting worse.
Yeah,
But
I don't think we're advocating ignoring it. I think what we're advocating is do your very best to stay alive, to keep functioning. That's
Right. I tell myself that, look, I'm doing as much as I can. Now forget it and do your thing for the day. And just try to shove it away. I'm already doing everything I can do. What else?
Yeah, right.
Thank you.
I'm gonna head out, but I wanted to thank everybody. And Bill, that was really maybe the best meeting I've been in.
Yeah.
In terms of how it was run, in terms of timing and talking. And I mean, it was just really incredible. And I know it's a team, I know it's Pat and Mike and Judd, and, that it's organized and it's very intentional. But I just want to say that was really an exceptional way that you doubled back and you got new people and you got really time for everybody. There were at least 25 people, I think maybe 25, 30 initially. So, and Susan, I just wanted to say on the shoes, I think you were the one that was interested in the water walking shoes. I have not used them walking around my house, but I've used them in the shower. And it's really helped me in terms of just feeling safe and secure. It's a scary proposition for me, even though it's a good shower and I just have to go over a very simple lip to get in, and where the hand shower part is, I have a strong bar there. So I have some things that really help, but I used to love to shower every day and I don't do that now. It's just, it's a real hard thing. So, but anyway,
It was helpful for you to say that, and especially the emphasis on the soft, because people think of Speedo as a sneaker almost, and this is the soft one that you were talking about, the water shoe.
yes, it's a water walking shoe. It's, yeah.
And certainly affordable, so excellent idea.
Yeah. All right, you guys have a good one. And, for anybody that's interested, I think CJ's group is Monday. And, the time has shifted a little bit. It's like 3:30. He had shifted it a few months ago, I think. So I think it's just 3:30 to 4:30.
I didn't mention it because he's asked us not to advertise it because he's reached capacity and he keeps sending us new names. In fact, those were the 5 names that Bill announced at the beginning. Had all been CJ referrals. And so.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not surprised. All right. Thank you, guys.
I
Take care.
appreciate your comments and I do have a lot of help.
Yeah,
As
that
Pat
was
said,
flawless.
we all worked together and we scrambled a bit. And Mike, I'm sorry I left you out for a little bit, but you got on a roll that was just.
That's great.
Really great.
I could have said more. I could have talked more. Oh my.
I know, well.
What a missed opportunity.
We still have February. We can say Mike continued. Anyway,
Well, it was really a good summary. We've never done that before, so.
Great to see y'all.
Fantastic. It
Bye-bye.
was really good.
I'm going
Bye.
to go too. Thank you, everybody, for your dedication and your support. And it's been a great day. Thank you.
Okay, super. Cheerio.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Hey, Judd. Judd. He's muted.
He's talking. There he is.
Yeah. Hey, Judd, I don't really like it when you take the person who's talking and making, I don't know what you call it, making speaker view.
Yeah.
Because I like being able to see what other people are how they're reacting to what other people are saying.
Yeah.
I routinely go up and change it back to gallery view. But I don't know. I don't know how the people feel about that.
Okay, we can talk we can talk about that on Thursday because I agree with you in some ways. I just go back to gallery view. So we'll see.
All
Because
right.
sometimes.
Thank you. Bye.
Okay, cheerio.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Enjoy the rest of the evening.
Yes. See you soon.
I guess I should save chat here.
Well, you can. I'm saving it. So.
Okay.
Usually works if we're recording.
All right, there we go. Good. All right.
Talk
This
to you soon.
worked pretty well, I thought.
Yeah, I think it was a brilliant meeting. That was a really good meeting.
All right. Have
Have a
fun.
good weekend. Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.